Titans, go!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower once again to talk some Titans. We've been off for a while, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with my fellow Titan talker, everyone's favorite Titan talker, Jesse Jackson.
Hello, Charles. Yes, it's been a while. We haven't had any new news to share, and we've been busy doing other stuff. But when we saw kind of a release of new information,
Yes.
we immediately got on the Titan phone, the Bat phone, and said, "Hey, Jesse,
Yeah.
we got to talk." And I go, "Yes, we do."
Yes, we do. So, yeah, we know it's been a while, but thanks to everybody for being patient with us. We just, we had kind of a lull, but now we've got some stuff to talk about. So, what are we going to talk about? Well, we've got a bunch of news. We've got the big DC Universe announcement, the DC Universe digital service we want to talk about. We've got news on the new Doom Patrol spin-off series from Titans. That's obviously big news to talk about. And we actually have some fan mail here in Tell It to Titan Talk. Somebody actually was kind enough to write us back in May, so we're finally getting around to addressing that. And we even have what is purportedly the very first review of the Titans pilot that was posted online. We don't know how legit it is, so keep your salt shaker within reach. But we figured, well, we might as well talk about it because it does have some interesting details that I want to bring up and get your reaction on, Jesse.
Yes, I am excited to talk about this. As you say, we're going to take this a grain of salt.
Yes.
Or maybe a whole salt shaker, but it is something, at least we have new details to talk about and speculation. And let's face it, we all love to speculate.
Yes, exactly. So, and hey, that's kind of one of the things that, podcasts love to do, to talk about, because, hey, we got an hour to talk about, right? So
Absolutely.
we need something to talk about. So, and I think this is, if nothing else, it's worth, just kind of mulling over, and hopefully this is legitimate. So
Yes.
We don't give you guys bad information. But I think the first thing we need to talk about, the big announcement finally, that came out last week or this past week, the DC Universe digital service. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Jesse, because Warner Brothers, they finally announced some details for DC Universe. That's the name for their new digital service that Titans is going to be on, along with the other live action and animated series and all. I guess they're going to also have classic movies, classic TV shows. They're even going to have a selection of digital comics, kind of similar to Marvel's Marvel Unlimited program. So if you're in the mood for to have a kind of subscription service to have digital comics access, this is big news. And also they're supposed to have they're offering supposedly exclusive merchandise like toys, T-shirts, etc. So Jesse, what did you think of this big announcement?
Well, first off, I was very happy to hear. We've been eager waiting to hear when this is going to happen. We have talked about the images about the show seemed promising. We liked the uniforms we saw. We discussed the controversy of Starfire and how we said, let's, tap the brake.
Right.
We're seeing an image out of context. But I'm just curious it's similar to when we were sitting there waiting for Krypton.
Yes.
We like, okay, is this going to be good? What's it going to cover?
We weren't quite sure what to expect
Right.
when it was first announced.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited that we're getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, and once Krypton came out, I was very impressed with what we got from Krypton, and
Yes.
definitely looking forward to season 2 of that series. So
Yeah.
so hopefully Titans will be the same. Now, from what the announcement, we had a full press release, and from what the press release said, I guess they're going to open up beta access in August 2018. And they give people the opportunity to sign up for that. I've obviously went ahead and signed up for that because I would love to beta the hell out of that and give my thoughts on the service. So fingers crossed I get chosen for that. If not, no big deal. But and then supposedly the service will once they get their feedback and make whatever tweaks they feel necessary. It's supposed to go live later this fall, so probably September, October, maybe at the very least, I would think.
Yes.
So we're getting very close because we just hit the 1st of July.
Yes.
And which is also my parents' 66th wedding anniversary today. So happy
Yay, yes.
66 to my parents. Just had to bring that up. But so it's not too much longer. We're going to be actually getting this service live. And I'm presuming you're going to be signing up for this, Jesse.
Absolutely. In fact, while we're talking, I'm looking for this.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to sign up for try to get on the beta test as well?
Absolutely.
For this? All right. Good for you. So hopefully one of us will get selected.
Yes.
And now, from what we understand, if you're into the DC Comics version of it, if you're looking for that DC service to kind of compare to Marvel's Unlimited program, apparently, from what I understand, the selection is going to rotate and span decades of releases, all the way back from Action Comics #1, all the way through the Rebirth era. So that's obviously over 80 years of comics, which says a lot. Now apparently they're going to be rotating, so like it'll be like kind of like Netflix. You get certain movies a month or for a while on Netflix, and then they go away, and then new ones come in. So it'll probably be kind of like that. And you can apparently download them for reading on your mobile devices, from what this press release said. So while I'm talking about this, Jesse, is this something that might this kind of feature, would this be something that would help you maybe kind of get back into the comic thing?
Probably not. I just don't have time, Charles.
Even though you're already paying for it, you're not going to have a problem.
Exactly. Confession time.
Yes.
I pay every month for Netflix, and I still have not watched Daredevil 2,
What?
Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones 2, Iron Fist. I just haven't seen them because
you're on so many podcasts like this one.
Part of that is the podcasting. Other part of it is regular TV watching that I enjoy. You're
a busy guy.
I am a busy guy. In fact, and then partly is, I'm in a mixed marriage. Linda doesn't watch any, TV superhero stuff. So I have to watch that on solo time. Like today, we're binging the Harlan Coben Netflix original series Safe, which is really good. But, that's 8 episodes. And if she was into superheroes.
Right.
Funny story. So last night we're looking for a movie to watch. And she goes, "Oh, I want to watch Black Panther." And I said, "Why?" Everyone says it's amazing.
You shouldn't have questioned it. You should have just put it on right there.
I said, "You do know it's a superhero movie, right?" "No, I didn't." I mean, it's really good, Linda, and I think you'd enjoy it. I don't want to watch a superhero movie. I said, okay.
See, you should have just went and just dived right in, started watching, and then later.
After 30
What?
plus years of marriages, I know, right?
All right, all
So
right. You know your
anyway,
wife. You know your wife obviously better than I do. So.
and I still haven't watched the new Star Trek.
What?
I know it is.
All right.
So
Do we need to stage an intervention for you?
I think so. I think I'm
I'm
actually
feeling. I'm feeling
debating.
like you need some help. This is a
So
cry for help.
yeah, I caught up on 100 this week, which
Okay.
was this is a really good season. I am thinking about deleting.
It's got to help you with the summer being off.
Yes, exactly.
The summer shows being off.
So I am looking at a few of the things that are on my DVR, and I may just delete and say, "Yep, I know I'm missing something that may be great."
Yeah.
I have the whole season of Legion to watch. I'm gonna binge.
Oh, it's so good.
I know, and
So good.
and partly is I want to watch the first season again.
Right.
So I have all 20 episodes on the DVR.
Right. Yeah.
I need to take a week of vacation and do nothing but just binge watch.
Yes, I would suggest so. Yeah, you have some serious catching up to do, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
because of this, you're not obviously going to be reading comics because you're still catching up on everything else.
Right.
Now, personally, for me, I'm a big comic geek. So have been since I was a wee youngin, and also all the way through today. So that's obviously never going to change for me. Every day, every week, I'm buying comics. Every week, I'm reading comics. And obviously, there's a bunch of obscure stuff that maybe hasn't been released in like collected form, or just haven't budget-wise, I haven't been able to afford yet. So I'm looking forward to at least having this option, and to maybe get some like obscure stuff. So maybe stuff that like I've always wanted to read, and it's nice to at least have that. As long as I'm paying for the service anyway, it's kind of like a nice bonus for me to have this.
Yeah, and once I get the service, I may find that I do like that.
Right.
On my iPad, that
Right.
I could look at this and see.
Right. Right. And especially they're going to have like a very quality reader for the app when it comes out and stuff. So yeah. Now one of the things that didn't come out in the announcement was a price point. So do you have any thoughts on what you would be willing to pay for this service based on what you know of it?
So I'm thinking it's going to be under $10. That's
Right.
what I think it should be.
Right.
Comparable
to Netflix at least.
Yeah, and comparable to the CBS All Access.
Right. Right. Then that's what, $12.99 a month?
I think so. Yeah, something along that lines.
Okay.
Part of me is kind of resentful that we're having to pay extra to do this. Though it doesn't bother me to pay my money for HBO or Showtime.
Right.
So I think that's the
and it's not like I see it as unlike CBS Access, they're gonna have more than one show I'm gonna be interested in.
Yeah. Because
that's one of the things I don't pay for CBS All Access because just to watch Star Trek Discovery, although I do love Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for me to pay for just one show.
Yeah.
But DC Universe at least is going to have the Doom Patrol series, which I'm going to be all over.
Sure.
They're going to have the Harley Quinn animated series, Swamp Thing, which I'm kind of intrigued about, and and other things. And there's been talk of like possibly a Metropolis series that is in the works. They haven't announced it yet because it kind of got back for development. So, but at least that's a possibility. And so, and then with all their, obviously they're going to have a nice library. So, a lot of that stuff I already own because, hey, I'm just that kind of guy that goes out and gets the DVDs and Blu-rays. But it's some of that is going to be like they're supposed to have like the original Wonder Woman TV series in HD for the first time and stuff like that. So, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I do think they have a diverse history And
Oh,
so,
and Batman the Animated Series in high def for the
yeah.
first time. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as well.
And the idea that, um, as we kind of, I'm going to
Right.
throw in a complaint, like the Sci-Fi Channel
Yeah.
doesn't always have sci-fi on all the time. There are
Right.
a lot of, you know, they do all those cheesy sci-fi kind of
The
low
B
rent
movie
Marvel
stuff.
B
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
and everything.
Right.
And so I love the idea that this, if I'm in the mood to watch a superhero, it could
Right.
be there and just I can get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that they haven't announced so far that maybe you'd like to see down the road on the service, like some other type of show? What's your fit? Like, if they could do a DC Universe series, what would you like to see on that service?
Just
What's your dream series, I
that's
guess?
been there before,
Or anything, just anything like
yeah.
new that you would love to see, or anything old that you haven't seen forever you'd like to see.
Um, y-
I know I kind of put you on the spot here,
no,
but
no,
I just
no. I mean, I think I would love to see the Young Justice continue.
right.
That was a
Well,
really good series.
that's actually continuing. That's going to
Right.
be on the service. Young Justice Outsiders. That's
And
coming up.
do you remember they had like a year or two of a Legion cartoon?
Yeah, yeah,
That was, I thought it was a little different. It wasn't
right,
quite Teen Titans Go, but it was a
right.
little different version of Legions, but it was close enough. I really liked it. So
Okay.
I would
You-
love a
if they
Legion.
brought that back,
Yeah. And
yeah,
I
I can
would
imagine.
love,
I can imagine that the original episodes should be on the service.
yeah, and I've loved the kind of mini Legion that's been on Supergirl.
Right.
So I would love to see a live action Legion, though I think the
Oh yeah.
cost would be just way out there. But
Well,
yeah,
maybe after a while, if the early shows do well, and then they kind of try to expand a little bit.
yeah,
Like how Netflix they kind of built up to more higher quality shows.
yeah,
Maybe DC Universe can do the same. So maybe at some point, yeah, down the road,
yeah,
I would love to see a live action Legion of Superheroes series. I
yeah,
think that would be fantastic if they could do it.
yeah. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
Mhm.
That would be great. I'd love to see that as well. But apart from that, yeah, I'd love to see like shows like maybe Firestorm or just characters that you maybe normally wouldn't get. Uh,
Yes.
The Outsiders,
Hmm.
I think could be a good show.
Yeah,
Which they're already kind of setting up on Black Lightning, so maybe that won't happen there. But they seem to be kind of teasing Outsider stuff on Black Lightning.
yeah,
But yeah, I think there's so much potential. If anything else, maybe a new season of Constantine.
yeah. And then,
With that, with Matt Ryan, I know he's doing Legends of Tomorrow,
hmm,
but yeah, a new season of Constantine would be great.
yeah,
Uh,
it would be.
And
Um,
or so yeah, I think there's a lot of obviously with DC Comics history, there's a lot, and maybe like other Titans characters, maybe you could spin them if some of them are more popular. You could spin them off into solo series or something,
and this is
like
a
like a
really,
solo Nightwing series or something would be
yeah,
great.
this is a really a long shot, but Paul Denny has been involved with TV shows in the past,
Right.
and his series of Zantana was a fun comic,
Yeah.
and to have him do that,
A
uh,
Zatanna series would be brilliant.
yeah, just I think that would be because there's so much potential there. I mean, you talk about kind of a little bit of Castle and a little bit of this show Deception that just got
Well,
canceled.
you remember the show The Magician back in the day?
Right, with Bill Bixby. Yeah.
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 So yeah,
So
you can do something like that.
yes. So that would be fun.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, there's a ton of potential here. So hopefully, hopefully the shows are well received, and hopefully this kind of builds up.
Yes.
So we'll check it out. So hopefully here in the next few months, we'll see what the end result is. But at least we finally are starting to get some details about that. Obviously, we'd love to know the pricing. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll announce that at San Diego Comic-Con here in a few weeks.
I would think so. I think
Yeah.
that would be their plan, right?
Unless they're waiting for the beta testing to come back to decide how much they should charge for the service.
Right.
So we'll see. It may be a while before we get pricing information. Now, one of the shows that, in addition to Titans, that's going to be out is Doom Patrol. And presumably this is going to spin off from the Doom Patrol episode that is going to be the 5th episode of Titans called, guess what, The Doom Patrol, written by Jeff Johns. And now we talked about the various actors on this that supposedly in that episode are going to star Bruno Baichir as the chief, April Bowlby as Elastigirl or Elasti-Woman, whatever they decide to call her, Dwayne Murphy as Negative Man, and Jake Michaels as Robot Man. And what was your thoughts on this announcement that the Doom Patrol is getting their own spin-off series? Have you read like Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol?
No.
Oh, it's a great series.
Yeah, I've read some of the older Doom Patrol, but I think it's a fun kind of series that it's different than what we currently have.
Right.
Unlike some, I'm pretty happy with the CW superhero shows. I mean, they are not perfect, but I come from a heart of, the young Jesse would have just, all he could have thought of was having every week, a superhero series.
Those are exactly the series you would want as a kid.
Right. And so, and I know some people complain, but, I found most of the series are really good. And, there's a few flaws and things, but overall, I think, I do think they would serve themselves better if they did 10 or 12 episode seasons.
Right.
Because you could tell, it's a shorter story. But anyway.
Well, I know Titans is supposed to be 13 episodes, so I'm guessing they're kind of setting it up kind of similar to Marvel's Netflix shows.
Yeah.
That are 13 episodes.
And,
that's a good amount, I think.
Yeah, let's go back to our other podcast. The
award-winning Next Stop Everywhere,
the Doctor Who podcast.
Right.
I would love 22 episodes of Doctor Who a year.
Right.
That would make me thrilled. But the reality is, you're only going to get this year 10.
Yes.
Versus the 12 or 13.
Plus his Christmas special. Yeah.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
So it's they've been kind of whittling down on Doctor Who. They started 13 plus the Christmas special, then they went to 12 plus a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Now we're down to 10.
Yeah, and there are shows like I think 5 years ago, you and I would have said, as much as I'd love to see Lucifer, I don't know, will that work as a TV show? And it worked perfectly.
Right.
And I'm so glad we're getting another season.
Yeah, because that's I think Netflix picked that one up as well.
Yes.
So that's great. So as far as the Doom Patrol goes, so they announced with the DC Universe, they announced some new synopses for both Titans and Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to run these past you.
Okay.
Because with Doom Patrol, it actually has a Titans connection that I find intriguing. So the synopsis for Doom Patrol is now, Doom Patrol is a reimagining of one of DC's strangest group of outcasts, Robot Man, Negative Man, Elasti-Woman, and Crazy Jane. That's a character from the Grant Morrison era. Led by the mysterious Dr. Niles Calder, they're called to action by the ultimate hero for the digital age, Cyborg. And banding together, these rejects find themselves on a mission that will take them to the weirdest and most unexpected corners of the DC universe. So they've announced that Cyborg is kind of going. I think is going to be like almost like the Claire on, the Marvel Netflix shows, the Night Nurse, Rosario Dawson's character that kind of
Right.
links the various series together. I think Cyborg's going to be that character that links Titans to Doom Patrol. And I find it interesting that they're allowed to use Cyborg since was featured recently in Justice League.
Yes.
So what do you think about Cyborg being kind of that liaison character?
Yes, I'm a little, I've shared before, it bothers me a little bit that Cyborg is in the Justice League.
Right.
That seems a little strange,
Yeah.
but I've enjoyed it. I thought he was a good character in the movie.
It was cool to see him in live action, if nothing else,
Yeah.
like in a big screen movie.
Yeah, I do think if you can tie these together, that's one of the advantages to Marvel is they do try to tie everything together as much as they can
in that shared universe.
Yes, yeah, and it should be
their cinematic universe. Yeah,
right.
So I think maybe we'll have a DC universe cinematic universe, if that, as opposed to the DC extended universe on the films.
Mm-hmm.
I think then we have that kind of Berlanti verse on the CW shows.
Yes,
I'm getting the impression that we're going to have like other DC universe shared universe here.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. But I find that very intriguing. Now, one of the original synopses that mentioned Cyborg said that the team he comes to the team with a mission hard to refuse, but with a warning that is hard to ignore. Their lives will never ever be the same. So pretty intriguing. So we'll see how that goes. One other thing I want to talk about real quick with Doom Patrol is that another actor was actually, I guess, under consideration for the Doom Patrol spin-off series. Kelsey Grammer, you obviously may be familiar with if you were a big fan of Frasier on NBC. He's under consideration for playing the Chief on the Doom Patrol series. So I don't know if they're recasting the role for the spin-off series or if that's going to be reshot for Titans if they get him. But I think he would be perfect as the Chief.
I think he would be really good. He was...
or you may know him as Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons if you're a Simpsons fan like I am.
Yep. He was very good. He also did I think it was a Stars show where he played a Chicago mayor that was dying. That was really well done.
Wasn't that called with a Power? I think it was, or something like that.
Boss,
I can't remember.
I think.
Boss.
Like that.
Yes, thank you. That's it. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking.
So he's a very diverse actor, and I think he would be great in doing this.
He can do dramatic stuff. So yeah,
because he played Beast.
That's true.
Yeah, and did
that wasn't
great
exactly
job.
Dramatic, but yeah, he was also the Beast in Spin the Last Stand. So. Which I found amusing. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's got affinity for comic book roles.
He does.
All right. So let's get back and talk about the Titans a little bit, the Titans show.
Right.
Now we got a new, also, as I mentioned, we got a new synopsis for that show.
Okay.
Which reads, Titans follows young heroes from across the DC universe as they come of age and find belonging in a gritty take on the classic Teen Titans franchise. Dick Grayson and Rachel Roth, a special young girl possessed by a strange darkness, get embroiled in a conspiracy that could bring about hell on Earth. Joining them along the way are the hot-headed Starfire and lovable Beast Boy. Together they become a surrogate family and team of heroes.
Yeah.
So that's the official synopsis for now for the series. And now we did get, as I mentioned, someone purportedly has watched the Titans pilot. And as I mentioned before, definitely keep the salt shaker handy. But I thought we should talk about it. I posted this on my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot. But a site called Splash Report is claiming exclusive for the first details on Titans, the upcoming digital series. And they cite someone who supposedly watched the. Now I don't know if this was like a testing screening or what, but supposedly he's seen the pilot and has some very intriguing details. I want to run past you, Jesse.
All right, I'm listening.
All right, so now I kind of bullet pointed his comments a little bit, but so let's run this down. First and foremost, this reviewer claims that Titans is a quote excellent show that quote stands out from the crowd, and he goes into detail saying basically kind of compares it to like the Marvel Netflix shows, like some or maybe even closer to Legion, which I find interesting. That he mentions some. I'm presuming it's a he, but I could be wrong. We don't know if it's a he or she, but I'm going to go with he. And like it's says that there have been some shows like Iron Fist that have disappointed.
No. Iron Fist is Supergirl. The small screen superhero has been neglected to an almost laughable, terrible level.
Yeah.
So, okay, first off, this guy has horrible taste. Yeah. He is the typical jackass.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Comic snob. So
right.
I guess that's good that he likes it.
Well, he does say that Legion is a top-notch television, so yes. I have to give him credit for that because yes, he's right about that.
Absolutely.
But he does say that like so when a project comes along that stands out from the crowd, it deserves the praise.
Good. Okay.
So at least he seems optimistic about the series.
Yes.
Which is encouraging. Next point, he says that the pilot is centered on Robin, Raven, and Starfire. And I guess we start off with like a flashback with the Flying Grayson, the Flying Graysons. We get all that. I get to the backstory of Dick Grayson, and we get a little taste of Raven. And apparently, we just kind of focus on these three characters, probably separate. They haven't come together yet, but probably events will eventually bring them together. So we may not get to see them together in the first episode, although we are introduced to like three of the major players. No mention of Beast Boy yet, so maybe he doesn't show up until episode 2.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because you don't want to give the audience too much. You probably want to get them to kind of get to know the characters slowly.
I agree.
Without bombarding them with all this backstory, especially when you've got 3 different complex characters like Robin, Raven, and Starfire. Another bullet point. He says that Titans is, quote, not a series for children and, quote, darker than anything DC has put out on the small screen so far.
Good.
So just how, like, the CW shows are kind of geared more toward a younger viewer, with a possible exception of Black Lightning. This series is apparently going to be more geared toward the older viewer. Which I like. So like probably if you are a fan of the Marvel Netflix shows, it seems to be that's what they're going for here. Yeah. With Titans, which is not a bad thing necessarily. There are apparently going to be F-bombs and S-bombs, but it seems like they're trying to go more for, he says, an R rating, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get nudity, I don't think. So I don't think it's going to go that far. It's probably more like a PG-13, I'm guessing. And it says it's not. The guy says it's not as adult as something like Jessica Jones. Okay. So it's not as as noir, obviously, but it says it's far darker than anything is put out on the small screen so far. It doesn't say the big screen, the small screen.
Okay.
So we'll see, but. There are apparently like some realistic Robin fight scenes, and he says that, quote, it's a mixture of realism and fantasy that I think works great. So we'll see.
Good. Well,
that's another more optimistic tone, at least.
Yeah.
He's not he may be a snob, but he's not being snobbish about this series, at least.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It is.
Another bullet point, Robin, quote, doesn't work with Batman anymore and left Gotham for San Francisco. which we kind of probably figured out anyway, that he wasn't going to be. This would be after he had broken ties with Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a surprise there, but we don't see him as he starts off though wearing the Robin suit as opposed to the Nightwing costume. So maybe we're going to get like that'll be part of his character arc, that he's eventually going to sever ties and become his own man as Nightwing.
Yeah, and I do.
Unless they don't have the rights to Nightwing because of the Nightwing movie that's in development.
Right.
I don't know.
I like the Robin costume, so
Right.
I think he looks good.
Yeah, we got some new photos of the Robin costume since you brought that up, and so we actually get to see the full costume in one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a chance, go online and check that out. I uploaded the photos on our Facebook page, Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. So if you want to check those out, those are posted up there.
Good.
And I'm on it. And
yes, you are.
I try to be. Apparently, Grayson has taken up the career of being a police detective, kind of similar to the Chuck Dixon Nightwing series, I'm guessing. And we get introduced to characters like Detective Rohrbach and a character named Wolf. Now, Amy Rohrbach, that was a character from the Chuck Dixon Nightwing series, so she was his partner on the police force. So, although he was just a uniformed officer there, but if he's a police detective here,
seems he seems a little young to be right.
A police detective. So maybe that's just the description. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's just not thinking. Yeah. I don't know. You think he'd have to be. I'm not quite sure how he pulled off being a detective that young. Yeah.
And that might be a plot of, him getting a lot of grief because of.
Or maybe he just became a detective.
Yeah.
Like he was a uniformed officer for a while, but then, So I don't know how that's going to work out. And then also it's one of those things that makes me a little suspicious about the veracity of this, but we'll see. Another bullet point, Raven may have Trigon residing inside her, and the Acolyte is a main antagonist. And now the Acolyte's a character that isn't from the Titans comics.
Right.
But is described here as a mysterious hitman whose intentions and superiors are unclear but hint at a more extensive narrative in play. And that, quote, the Acolyte prompts some change within Rachel's life that launched the entire show into motion.
Good. Okay.
So what I'm guessing here is, and then he describes like Raven, I guess, that she's deeply disturbed and has like an almost demonic individual residing inside her. So I'm kind of wondering if Trigon, just like the new Teen Titans comics, is going to be the main impetus for bringing the group together.
That would be a good move on their part.
I agree.
I think that's really, really good.
Think that you build up to this big bad, that you could have this season finale facing Trigon. Everything leading up to this ultimate confrontation with Trigon, I think would be a good deal.
I agree.
A good way. So I think that's a great first opening arc. And they have described her mother Angela, which I think is just a renamed Arella from the comics. So we at least get to see that.
Yes.
So presumably, we'll find out that maybe through the course of the series that Angela, had sex with a demon or something and gave birth to Trigon or something.
There we go. Yep.
So there you go. We'll find out. Or, what have you. Or it had, gave birth to Raven, that Angela had sex with Trigon and gave birth to Raven. So we'll find out. And then lastly, and this is kind of something we talked about earlier with Starfire's kind of like really that first look at Starfire's costume. They had everybody on the internet all up in arms. That Starfire's poorly received first look in the interwebs was a 70s club, quote, disco party, and more importantly, isn't her usual look.
Good.
So everybody that was kind of up in arms about this and overreacted.
Yes.
According to this person, Starfire is first introduced after a disco party, which is why she looks like she's a character from the 70s with her permed hair and this kind of flimsy disco version of her costume. And that apparently her dress and hairstyle aren't her usual look. So he says everybody needs to relax a bit and wait for the official image. So if this is legit, and I hope it is, that means that, yeah, that's not her final look. So which gives us a little more hope. So we'll see. But I guess we find out that Starfire has multiple passports and can speak multiple languages, and her identity is an absolute mystery.
Good.
So I think that's interesting. They're trying to make her a more enigmatic character as opposed to just this. Now, hopefully they'll find out that, yeah, she was an alien that crash landed while trying to escape from her captors, the Gordanians, like in the comics.
Right.
But for right now, they're kind of making her a mystery, which I kind of like.
I like that a lot.
It's an interesting take for the character.
Yes.
So we'll see. But so I'm kind of intrigued by that. And he says he also says that there's spectacle, violence, and mystery that acts as both a satisfying finish for the episode and a definite beginning for the rest of the show. The absolute greatest, most jaw-dropping moment of the pilot happens here, and it's so good, but you'll have to see the episode yourself to find out what it is. So that's a good teaser.
That is.
Without revealing anything. So not overly spoilery, but some interesting details that I find intriguing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Again, we don't know if that's legit, but that's what's out there, so take it for what you will.
Yeah. Okay.
So does that make you feel a little better maybe about what we're going to get?
Oh,
at least about Starfire it makes me feel a little better.
I'm very excited. I really think that I just hope it's good.
Yeah.
I know there's people who love Gotham.
Right.
And it just I had to give up because it just wasn't the show I wanted to watch.
Right.
Even though I really like a lot of the actors.
Yeah.
But just it wasn't, the show I wanted. So I'm so hoping that the Titans is going to be the kind of show I want.
Right, me too. Obviously, because we want to be enthusiastic about the show we're talking about. That would kind of help, wouldn't it? So
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, fingers crossed. We're obviously waiting as much as you are for this. So
yeah.
And one other little tidbit of news about Titans I want to bring up before we move on. Speculated cast. There's a possible chance that we're going to get Superboy on this show.
Yeah.
The Connor Kent Superboy.
Right.
And so the description I found that was being rumored, at least, so take this for what you will, being referred to as David. Apparently this character is a 20-something Caucasian male with dark hair that would guest star in the 13th episode of the season 1 finale. David is described as a powerful individual who is merciless, so much so that he has recently unleashed chaos to the people who have been keeping David as a prisoner in a mysterious lab.
Yeah.
And when we find David, he will have recently escaped this lab. So that kind of sounds a lot like Cadmus, or the kind of New 52 maybe version of Superboy. We don't know, but it does kind of hint at a possible Connor Kent we may be seeing here.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I find intriguing. So, don't know if that means we're going to see some others from that Jeff Johns Titans era comic. I don't know if we're going to see Bart Allen or we'll see Cassie Sandsmark, but or Tim Drake, but we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're getting Jason Todd, so maybe if we get Jason Todd, we'll get Tim Drake. That would be kind of interesting, I think.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, it would be. So again, we'll have kind of maybe a generational thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else about the Titans series before we move on to our email? that we got.
No, I think we're getting closer and closer. I've signed up as well to be a beta tester.
Yeah. All right. So
We're
hopefully one of us will get it.
yes, and when it goes live, we'll be watching, and we'll have to debate. Do you think they're going to dump all the episodes the way Netflix does, or do you think it's going to be a one at a time?
Well, I know that CBS All Access does one at a time for Star Trek Discovery.
Yes.
So I don't know.
I would think they do one at a time.
I would think they're going to do one at a time because they're only going to have the new. Presumably, they're going to have Young Justice, and although that's getting pushed off to 2019, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So they're only going to have Titans really to launch. So they'll probably do this once a week, I'm guessing.
I think so, yeah.
So we'll find out, which is okay because we'll just review one episode a week, just like once we start getting the episodes. So that'd be good.
Absolutely.
All right. So finally got some email. So cheers to Dwayne Stevenson.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Who wrote back in on May the 4th, 2018. So we're finally catching up on that. Here and now it's July 1st. Apologies for taking so long, Dwayne, but we needed something more to talk about.
Right.
Hope you don't take it personally. So Dwayne tells it to Titan Talk by saying, "Hey, Charles and Jesse," or do you want to read Dwayne's email? Do you want to read it?
No, you go for it.
All right. Hey, Charles and Jesse. I found your podcast when looking for info about the new Titans TV show and just wanted to say hello. So, hello, Dwayne.
Hi, Dwayne.
And I was a member of the Titan Talk APA for a brief time way back in the mid-'80s when I was in high school in Dallas.
Ah.
So Dwayne actually predates me and presumably you.
Yes.
As a member of Titan Talk. Now, we've talked about Titan Talk before, where Titan Talk was a fan fiction group that we back before the interwebs, we did all our fan fiction on paper and made copies and had those collated and sent out to the various members.
Yes.
As old school where we played with rocks and whatnot, but back in the Stone Age. But Dwayne apparently was a member before we were. Mm-hmm. So credit to Dwayne for being our oldest Titan Talk person to check in.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. So he says, I was an artist and had aspirations of going professional. I ended up going to film school and then went into graphic design.
Oh, nice.
And he says, I was and still am, a huge George Perez fan. Aren't we all?
Absolutely.
If you're not a George Perez fan, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. I don't feel I'm out of bounds by judging people like that, personally.
Nope.
I got to finally meet him when he made a rare appearance at a comic book store in Houston this past February. I traveled to that event from Nashville, where I live now. And I don't remember which issues of Titan Talk I had or was a part of. Those are long since lost. But I did get a copy of the Stacked Deck. Wish I still had that. Now, the Stacked Deck was a fan fiction story, kind of an epic story that was written in serialized format by a former Titan Talker, Barry Liga.
Yes.
And Barry Liga, who's currently writing young adult fiction and has written some young adult flash novels recently. So I'm going to give him a shout out to that. Lucky dog, you. I'm very jealous. And but all credit to Barry for doing that. And the Stacked Deck, if I recall correctly, was a big Joker epic involving the Batman family, Nightwing, Batgirl, etc. And as I remember, I read the story so long ago. This is like over 20 years, so bear with me. But it was a very cool story. So, and it was kind of something that was kind of like this specialized version was only certain people got this edition, I think. Okay. So I think it was just very select few got this. So very cool story. Dwayne goes on to say, I haven't been a regular comic reader for years now, but I watch the CWDC shows when I can, and I'm excited about checking out this new Titans TV show.
Good.
I've enjoyed your podcast so far. That's awesome. Thank you, Dwayne.
Yes.
It brought back lots of fun memories, and look forward to listening more, especially when the show premieres. Thanks, Dwayne Stevenson.
Nice.
So thank you, Dwayne. Thanks for giving us our very first feedback on that. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Jesse, if more people want to be cool like Dwayne and drop us a line here at Titan Talk, how could they do that?
Well,
Unless you don't have it handy, in which
I do
case
not have it handy.
All right. I'll read it.
Okay.
Read it. So if you want to be like Dwayne, be the cool kids, you can reach us at TitanTalkCast@gmail.com, the Gmail. And TitanTalkCast@gmail.com. And you can drop us a line. Let us know what you think of the Titans, what your thoughts on what the news you've heard about the upcoming show, or just what you think we're doing about the podcast so far, what you'd like to see us do or do less of. We're just open to all feedback here, and just would love to hear from you. We want to build this great fan community, and so we can definitely use your help to do that. Otherwise, if you want to reach us here at Titan Talk, you can also reach us at Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast on Facebook, or you can reach us at Titan Talkcast on Twitter. We'd love to have you like us and follow us on Facebook and Twitter there as well, because obviously anytime there's a new episode, we're going to post that. Or, hey, any Titans news that comes out, we're going to post that as well. So you might want to have those bookmarked so that you can keep up as we keep up. Or if you have something you want to pass along that we need to report, please do so as well.
And we are still working to try to get fellow former Titan Talkers to join us.
The offer is definitely open.
Yes.
If you have Skype and you want to talk with us here on Titan Talk, we'd love to hear from you. So
we would.
Drop us a line, and we'll try and make that happen because we'd love to hear from you. All right. Next time on Titan Talk, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next time. Hopefully we'll have some new information, unless there's one of the characters you'd like to talk about in the meantime.
Yeah, I think we've got to, we got to figure out, as we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
I am busy, so.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, I always love talking to you. But we will figure out when we're going to talk again. We'll try to get something out.
Yeah. Now, hopefully now that we're getting closer, we're going to get some more information sooner.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we'll have it at least within the next month.
Yes.
So we'll plan on that. At the very least, we'll try and be out in a month. So look for us then.
Yes.
And as we get closer, now once we start getting those episodes, obviously we're going to switch to a weekly format. So things will pick up. But for right now, we will bid you adieu for now, or shall we say au revoir?
Yes. Do you not want to tell them how to reach you and how they can hear you?
Yeah. Well, we could do that too, if you're so inclined. So yeah, Jesse, how can they reach you on the interwebs?
I can be reached at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter. You can hear me talk about music on Set Listing Bruce. As this comes out, I just spent a week guest hosting Rockin' the Suburbs, a podcast. Yes, I had a lot of fun, and we talked a little bit of one-hit wonders, pop songs, and bourbon, which you will have to listen to figure out how did we get a bourbon discussion on a Rocking the Suburb podcast. Charles and I can be heard talking of the long-running, beloved science fiction show Doctor Who in Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, the award-winning Doctor Who podcast.
That's right. You can find me on Facebook, Jesse Jackson in Louisville, Texas.
Yep.
Charles, you already talked about your blog of geeky things, but go ahead and share how people can hear you and give you feedback.
Yeah, so if you'd love to hook up with me on the interwebs, I'd love to hear from you as well. So you can drop me a line here at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram. Google Plus for you crazy kids in the Google Plus. Facebook, of course, at Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio, or the aforementioned blog of geeky things
damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the stuff that we talk about here on Titan Talk, including the Titans, Doom Patrol, and all kinds of DC Comics, DC Universe news, and all kinds of comic book and sci-fi news. And also talk about the other podcasts they do for Southgate Media Group, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the award-winning Doctor Who podcast, or Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast they do with Zan Sprouse, where we talk about, obviously, Twin Peaks and David Lynch, and Phantom Zone podcast that I do with Karen Lindsay, where we talk about all the comic book shows on television. And right now we are reviewing the current shows Preacher, Cloak and Dagger, and Luke Cage, of course, on Netflix. So we're definitely talking about that as well. So for those that think that we didn't have any shows to talk about in the summer, well, guess what? We do. As we wait for the fall to return, and probably talk some Titans there as well. But obviously we're going to talk more Titans here on Titan Talk.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate you guys listening.
We do.
And please tell your friends about us, because we want to build this podcast up, obviously, and build a fan community.
Go to iTunes, rate and review us. That is how people find us, and we're so new that we need the more good ratings we get, the better we'll come up in the search engines. So
exactly.
Thank you for that. Give us some love. We need it.
Yeah. Or, if you just have some thoughts about us, we'd love to hear those as well. So, thanks to everybody. And we will see you probably within a month. Once again, right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Bye, everyone.
By the way, my recorder didn't start.
We can start again. Well, let's start again.
Let's start again. Yes.
I can do that. I can do that intro better anyway.
All
so
right,
that works.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.